Hi again, it's me. I am here posting another video, and this particular video will center around the symbology of dreams and different ways in which we can look at how to interpret dreams. Now, when you are having a dream, and I know that a lot of us have heard this before, a lot of times people will say things like, oh, I had this dream last night and it was really crazy, and there was all of these things happening. There was a dog running with a hat, and then my grandma came out of a hole and started talking to me, and then it started raining glitter. I don't know what that means. And that's pretty common, right? Like, you will have these elaborate dreams with such a entrenchedly deep meaning that we just have no idea what it is in that particular moment. And it can make it discouraging when you're trying to figure out what your dreams mean. So I'm going to offer my own perspective based off of the books that I've read and my own cultural background, along with just my own view of what dreams really are trying to tell us. Now, I want to start off with the disclaimer. Dream interpretation is not a one-size-fits-all kind of category. Dream interpretation will vary depending on the person and will vary from context to context, dependent on your life circumstances and what's currently going on for you. And at the same time, dream interpretation can also be dependent on how you view a specific symbol. Now, when we're talking about interpreting dreams, what we're really talking about is interpreting the language of your subconscious or your superconscious mind. It is a language that is rich in symbols, and with each symbolic representation, you can derive so many meanings. So, for example, I had mentioned this in another video of mine, where a dog might mean loyalty for one person and comfort, where for another individual, it might mean fear and discomfort in the body. And that really just goes down and back to that individual perspective, right? And what meaning have you individually placed onto that specific object? So that's one way to go about it. If you were to look at your dream and maybe take one specific object in that dream and just to dissect that object, you can really start to delve into, okay, what does this mean to me? What is the first thing that comes to mind when I think about this particular item? And you can sit there and kind of brainstorm, right? And write out what that item means to you. Another example could be if you have a dream with maybe a specific person. What I've learned is that when you dream with a specific individual, what you want to pay attention to is not that individual, but what that individual means to you. How do you describe that individual? What characteristics stick out the most about that person? Because really, when that individual is appearing to you as a symbol, it's appearing to you as a symbol of that particular person's character that you are giving meaning to. That doesn't mean that person necessarily has that character. It's just the way that you're interpreting that particular individual. For example, a father figure. What does your father mean to you? Is your father a man of courage? Is he a man who shows endearing love? Is he someone that you can count on? Or does your father mean the opposite of that? Is he someone that you feared? Is he someone that was angry? Was he someone that was not reliable? These are all things that you would want to take into consideration when interpreting dream symbols. So an individual, you're really looking at the character and what does that person resonate with you? And an object can be very similar in that respect. Now, when you are in a dream and you wake up, sometimes it's really easy to just kind of go to Google and just type in something, or even, some artificial intelligence software that you're using, or even I'm guilty of it. I've also I also have my own dream books. This one's actually pretty great, and I like this particular book. It's by Teresa Chung, and when she talks about her definitions for each symbol in her book, which is pretty extensive, it's called the Dream Dictionary from A to Z, she makes sure to mention that you might resonate with this, but she's not giving you a 100% surefire definition of what that particular object, person, or animal may represent. But if it resonates with you, then it resonates, right? So you can always get that basic kind of generalized definition of what that particular object or animal means, generally speaking. But if it doesn't resonate with you, then it doesn't resonate with you. And that's when you need to go further in and investigate more so as to what that particular item means for you. I've also come across the works of Carl Jung. If you are a person who is invested into your dreams or is wanting to start that journey of understanding yourself on that deeper subconscious or superconscious level, Carl Jung is a wonderful resource. He dedicated most of his life. Most people know Sigmund Freud, and some people know Carl Jung. I believe he's becoming more and more popular, and with Carl Jung, he actually worked directly with Sigmund Freud, and they worked together for a very long time. However, they had some disagreements in terms of specific topics, and I won't get too much into that Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung had completely differed on, and eventually it caused a split in the relationship, which led to Carl Jung going off and creating his own ideas and his own thoughts behind dreams. He studied dreams for a majority of his life, and a book that I really do enjoy is a very short read. I actually found this at a thrift shop, believe it or not, when I first started getting into dreams, and this was a really powerful book for me. It's called A Primer of Jungian Psychology, and it delves into things such as he coined the collective unconscious, and Carl Jung also coined the unconscious, and the introvert and extrovert. Is really, we want to tip our hats off to Carl Jung, for he is the one who gathered that information, and now we have others who've expanded upon that, and they also, we pay our credit to those, but he is one of the pioneers of dream psychology really as a whole in Western society, and there are others too, but he is one of the front runners. And another book of his which I really do enjoy is A Man and His Symbols. It's a wonderful book. It discusses a little more in depth as to what this particular book kind of just wets your feet a little bit. This one gives a little more in depth into his psychology and how he essentially took all of his learnings in life, and this was one of the last books he ever had written, and that was published. It ended up being published by other Jungian psychologists after he had passed away, because he never actually got to fully complete it. But it is a wonderful book and a great read. So if you're looking for exact meanings, you won't necessarily find that. And again, you can look into things and see if it resonates with you, go for it. It's really important to remember that the reason why it's important to understand your dreams is because you're directly interfacing with the unconscious mind. And I believe it's somewhere from 80 to 95% of your autopilot, which is what our day-to-day is run based off of your unconscious mind. And if you don't understand your unconscious mind, if you don't have that relationship with yourself, you're really losing a large part of you as a whole, as a being. And then when you don't know what your unconscious is experiencing, and that means you're having a limited relationship with the patterns that you display, right, as an individual. And sometimes those patterns aren't the most beneficial. Really studying your dreams helps you to understand your unconscious. It is what most people experience in the psychedelic trips. You can do it without your psychedelic trip. It's a direct conscious look into the unconscious mind without the psychedelic substance involved. So really getting to know what each symbol means, it can take a really long time, and I'm still on this journey trying to figure out what these things mean to me, and how each scene of each dream can progress into this whole storyline. And really, it really just depends on you and what your personal lived experience is. So just a little bit of information about symbols and dreams. I did want to touch upon the whole idea that our dreams can be somewhat precognitive. There are a lot of people who might disagree with me, and they say, well, when you dream, you're just dreaming about yourself, and there is no such thing as precognition in your dreams. However, I'd like to differ. I have had several dreams with my process of dream journaling, because I am a lucid dreamer, where I have received messages that were basically warning me about future events that transpired a few days later. And I think it's really important to pay attention to your dreams, not only to understand yourself, but you are also receiving information from your unconscious mind, from your superconscious mind. And it's important to pay attention to that information, because it's subtle and sometimes not so subtle. Sometimes it's very directly in your face. It's really a guiding force in life. If you really take your dreams serious and you start to pay attention to them, you will be led to where you're supposed to go through that true understanding of your dreams. You give the dreams the acknowledgement, you get the precognition. Sometimes the precognition doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to solve some sort of great feat or avoid something. Sometimes it's just letting you know, hey, this is going to happen, and just kind of brace yourself. You can't really truly predict every single moment of every single day when something's going to take place, but it kind of front loads you. And to me, that is really, it's really nice to have a way to be aware before it manifests in this reality of the kinds of precognitive events that are happening through your dreams. So that's just a little note that I wanted to put in there. Precognition is very real. You can experience it. We all have this ability. Some have a natural inclination, I always say this, to this particular practice, and some need to work at it a little bit harder in order to gain that mastery. But it is something that we all do. Every single one of us dream, and it doesn't matter where you come from in life. If you're American, if you're Indian, from Southeast Asia, if you're Pacific Islander, it does not matter where you come from. People talk about their dreams. It is a human thing. It is one thing that I can say that through different cultures, dreams are spoken about. There is really no divide when it comes to dreams. It is a human experience to have those dreams, and they are so much more profound than we believe. You just need to start focusing on them, really investing in your dreams, and having that buy-in, and slowly but surely you will get there. And the things that you can discover and heal are amazing. I've had experiences where I have had lucid dreams where, for example, in my last lucid dream, and I'll get a little personal, I'm talking about lucid dreaming now, naturally. But I was in a bathroom, which resembled my bathroom in my house. And it was really interesting because it was one of those dreams where it was my last dream of the night, and I was about to get up. I knew I needed to get up for work. Consciously, I knew that, but I decided to hit the snooze button and sleep a little longer. We didn't go to the gym that day. And with that, I continued to rest, and I had a dream. And in the dream, I became aware. I was doing my hair, and I was looking in a mirror, and I was like, oh, I'm getting ready for work. And I realized I was dreaming. For me now, I don't necessarily need to do the reality checks where I check my hand to make sure that I'm dreaming. And if you have not watched the first video I've posted on my channel, that will give you some information about reality check, so check out that other video as well. But I realized I was dreaming. I said, I'm dreaming, and I was looking at the mirror. The dream kind of became a little rumbly, and I'll talk about that in another video. When becoming awake and aware in our dreams, how sometimes we need to practice calmness, and if we get a little too excited, we can wake ourselves up. So I practiced my calmness, I focused, I became centered, and I became aware. And I no longer really try to control or manipulate the dreams. I'm more so at a point in my development with my practice where I kind of just interface with the dream, with the subconscious, superconscious mind, and see what it needs to show me. And one time I heard this saying is that your life is proportionate to the questions that you ask. So when you're in the dreams, your dream life is proportionate to the questions that you ask. And I like to center a lot of my questions around healing, because to become lucid in the dream and to perform an act of healing on the self is very powerful. And I asked, show me what needs to be healed. And as I asked that, I went to exit the bathroom, and a man who was completely nude ran toward me. And I mean, initially I was very freaked out by it. He had a very bizarre looking, strange, big, unnaturally sized head and kind of like a skinnier body. And he came around the corner, and it took me off guard, and I got a little scared, but then I knew I was dreaming, and I know nothing can hurt me when I dream. It's just a dream. So I was able to get past that fear, which is also a process of that healing, right? Getting past the fear and continuing to move forward. And I moved toward the man rather than naturally in the past, I would just try to run away or cower or whatever it was. And when I moved toward him, it almost, like, I would say, freaked him out, and he fell backwards onto the ground of my master bedroom. And I went over to him and I looked at him, and he was cowering and he looked confused. He just looked so afraid. So I went over and I said, oh my, like, I need to help this individual. So I went over and I asked to give him a hug, because I've read this in other books that I've had the opportunity to take in, and they've said that when you reach out to the nightmarish figure in the dream and you come with compassion and love, that usually helps to resolve whatever trauma is there, whatever we're holding on to there, and helps to release it. So as I asked this individual for a hug, he gets up and gives me a hug. And it was amazing, because in that moment, I'm giving this figure that I would be terrified of a hug. He begins to, as I let go, clothing starts to appear on his body, and he starts to go from confused and scared to smiling and happy and content. And as he becomes this clothed being now, he then eventually becomes a little boy and then disappears. I couldn't write that stuff. And I remember waking up and feeling so just elated and overjoyed, and I could just feel a part of myself had healed in that dream. Can I tell you exactly what that particular figure has to do with, or what situation in life? No. And to me, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that I went in and I was able to perform a miracle of healing on myself, really. And dreams like that, where there would be naked men running at me and I'm just running away, or scary male figure, those have become less and less. They were almost every single night, every other night, where I was just running away and I'd wake up terrified. And that doesn't happen anymore. I don't experience that. And if I do have an uncomfortable dream, they're far and few in between. It's truly a gift to experience. I think all human beings should have this opportunity, and that's why I'm making these videos, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think it's important. I think it's important for all of humanity to tap into their gifts. If they could tap into lucid dreaming, more power to you. It's something in your back pocket. I can now induce anywhere from 2 to 10 lucid dreams on will every month. as long as I journal my dreams and continue with my intentions. So it's just something really to take some serious interest in. I think that it can truly be very helpful for anybody with suffering from any sort of trauma, to truly help them heal. So I got into symbology and the interpretation of symbols, and then talked about the books, and then about my own experience with lucid dreaming. And I you know, I'm not doing this from a script. This is just coming straight to me, channeled. I want it to be natural, almost like a conversation. And I hope that you receive some sort of benefit. I really, my hope is that somebody somewhere watches this video and they are able to take away something to help them. And if I can reach one person, I am in gratitude. So with that, I say thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you made it this far, you're awesome. Hit subscribe and like on my video, please share the video. I will be making more content within the next few weeks. I am a career professional, so my time is a little more limited, but when I can, I will make more videos. And if there's anything that you would like to see on my channel, if you want me to talk about anything in specific, just comment below and let me know what you want to see. And I can certainly take those comments into consideration when I'm coming together with my next video. And with that, I say thank you.